Hello, and welcome to the second last show of the CGC Show Season 2. Uh, it's been a ride, it's been fun, it's been real fun. So today we're going to be talking about video editing. This is because the last session I was talking about audio and video editing, but we didn't actually get to any video. And we're also going to be joined by a guest today, the one and only Nicoletta Todesco. I can't help but try and do Italian accents sometimes. Great to see everyone. Bill over in California. Linda in Germany saying hello. Heidi from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Mr. John Puck, hello. Great to see everyone. What can I say? It's been many weeks of exam grading, and I finally got my momentum over the last weekend and got about, I don't know, 20 exams done or something. It was great. There's about 9 left, so for those still waiting, please be patient with me. There were so many to go through, and Nikki, Dave, and I were chatting about it in our weekly meeting this morning. And this Thursday, in 2 days, Nikki, Dave, myself, and James Erickson, and James is on the chat, and I haven't double confirmed with you, James, but he did say he was up for it when we talked last. We're going to be talking at 4 p.m., the last show of CGC Season 2. We're going to have a bit of a powwow about the exams, and I think this will be interesting for people who didn't submit, and because we're going to talk about common traits among, and also maybe branch out a little more philosophically to talk about why one might do this and how to prepare and all that kind of stuff. I think also Nikki wanted to talk about camera angles, how to set up your camera for the best exam. There's been some funny camera angles. The favorite one of mine was a camera angle where you can't see the left hand, you can't see the right hand, but you can see the middle of the guitar really well. We do what we can. Okay, so I'm going to give a quick little call to Nikki, because she's going to tell us about Oktoberfest, which is happening this weekend, starting on Friday, I believe, at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's going to carry on through Friday night and then all through Saturday, I think spanning 12 hours, and then all through Sunday spanning another 12 hours, I believe. And it's going to be pretty epic. And Nikki's already put in a ton of work preparing for this. I said to Nikki, this is your baby this year. She is the events manager, so this is really all of her doing. So we're excited for it. Okay, let me give Nikki a call. I can see her in the chat. She can maybe, she's chat and video. It's gonna be amazing. Hey, oh, she picked up straight away. Hello. Hold on, Nikki. Hold on. Wait. Just a second. No one can hear you yet. I think now they can hear you. Here we go. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I was there ready in the chat, so
I know.
I'm still ready.
That'd be kind of cool if I could just click on anyone in the chat and click on them, and then suddenly they would become alive and appear on the screen. That would be kind of cool. Maybe one
Oh,
day.
don't say it too loud because technology goes so fast. They will probably invent it tomorrow, not that they heard you.
It's true. It's true. Well, everyone's saying hello. Well, you can see. You probably have the chat open on your screen.
Yes, no, I closed it. I was like, is that YouTube and Skype at the same time going to freeze my computer? So I just closed the
Oh,
YouTube one.
okay. Yes, it is definitely, you're living in the danger zone when you do that. I
Yeah.
have experienced living in the danger zone where a computer gets a bit jittery. Anyway, let's talk about this epic event. Oh, can we show the picture first? Would you think Gayatri would
Oh,
mind?
maybe she's there waiting for us. She's in the chat probably. Let
Well,
me.
yeah, Gayatri, if you're on the chat, please say hello. And we would like to display this wonderful piece of art that appeared in the forum that I just saw moments ago, and Evita loved it. There's
Yes,
great
it's so
details.
beautiful.
Is it Gayatri's daughter? Is that?
Yes. Yeah.
And she was in the video with Kerry way back when, right? With the last challenge.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay, I'm going
for
to go out on a limb, Nikki, and I'm going to say that it's okay. Seeing as she posted in the forum, and
yes, it's okay to
okay,
post it. Come on.
all right,
It's
all right.
so beautiful. Everyone needs to see it.
All right, I'm going to put it on my screen. Then I'm going to share the screen. Ready? This is amazing. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Look at that. It's amazing. I'm so impressed and chuffed at the same time. So we got a footstool here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toes. Spider underneath the. That's one of those practice spiders that bites you if you don't practice with focus. Very happy looking skeleton. I appreciate the smile. 6 strings on the guitar. Wow, and this is really detailed. We've got a
It is
beautiful.
detailed.
The CGC logo blows me away. I'm so happy to see that. And then Oktoberfest.
With the repeat sign.
I didn't notice that. That's great.
Like, do it again.
Yeah, we're doing it again. We got, and then the broomstick and the witch playing the flute. Very, very cool.
Because she plays the flute.
Oh, she does?
She plays the flute and mom plays the guitar.
Oh, I understand. That even makes more sense. That's fantastic. Well, do
Yeah.
you know Gayatri's daughter's name by any chance?
I don't. Probably we should find it in, but it's okay. I think um it's okay. We keep it secret.
All right. Well, I would
But
like
she's an
to
artist.
extend a big thank you, congratulations, and just we're going to give her a round of applause. That's kind of
Yay!
beautiful.
No, it's beautiful, and also made me think about the dusty guitars. It made me think I want to wipe my guitars before Oktoberfest. All those spiders and,
Oh,
and
right.
the
Yeah, yeah.
spider nets in the guitar made me think like, oh yes, I need to clean it before recording the video.
Nice. Okay, so
Anyway,
give us the elevator pitch. Have you ever heard that
yeah,
term
because I
before?
know I have to keep it brief, and
Yeah,
I usually talk a lot.
got the timer going on. All right, the Italian timer.
No, so we'll start on Friday at 4 p.m. New York City time. So uh, later for Europeans, morning Saturday morning for the other hemisphere and the Australian. And I think it will be great. We'll start with a nice opening night that
Mhm.
is mostly performances and some talks from us as well, like teachers concert. And then we'll start with the workshops and master classes on Saturday, and they will go on all Saturday and Sunday as well. And we'll finish with a fantastic open mic on Sunday night.
What's
And
an
I'll
open
think,
mic for those who don't know about open mics?
oh yes, so one of the things that we always do in live events when we can have them in real life is that we want always to have members to leave to the members the space to perform and have their own concert. So this time this is not possible in real life, but we can do it as well in online setting. So we asked the members to submit videos of them playing, and so we'll have a series of performances, and it's basically a concert dedicated to all the members and celebrating the hard works of the people. And I saw the performances in advance. I feel so I feel so lucky because there's some art there. I'm really happy people put a lot of effort, and I'm amazed also by the audio and the video of the performances. The
Yeah.
quality is high.
Yeah, people are really stepping up their game. All right, so well, that sounds very. I'm very excited. We're all very excited. This is kind of a little bit of the summer school coming back to be alive again. It's got a big because yeah, so that's great. We're all very excited. I'm just looking at the chat, and Gayatri's in there. And she said, the question is whether Simon approves of the blue of the CGC logo. Absolutely. Spot on. If you want to know the hexadecimal, it's 1F9AB6. The amount of times I've plugged that into Photoshop, you have no idea. And I believe Carrie said that Gayatri's daughter's name is Meru. Meru.
Nice.
So
Meru. So
congratulations. Wonderful
congratulations.
work there. Wonderful work.
Yes. Well, she's part of CGC.
Yes, she's in the family.
Period.
Yeah,
Like
she's
yeah,
appeared on the performance before. Yeah, no, she's part of the family for sure.
like even if she plays the flute, she's in the CGC family. She's an affiliated. Like she's just a honored member.
Yeah. All right. Well, so for those watching, the Oktoberfest is completely free for all Academy members. We just wanted to make it open and welcoming and fun. So it's going to be, if you're not registered already, probably send. I'm going to say send you an email, but you probably say no. Don't tell anyone to send me any emails. Done with emails.
No, I'm at inbox 0, so you can start emailing me back again.
All right, and then for those who are not members, we can have, we're selling like tickets if people want it. So you can also contact Nikki, Niki at classicalguitarcorner.com.
Yes.
But it's just going to be a big fun weekend for the members to come back and come together and see each other. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. And we have fantastic guests.
Yes.
We want to remind, like, we have Duo Noir, Thomas Flippin, Christopher Mullet, then Gary Lee talking about taking care of the guitar, important part of it. Then Richard Charlton will join us as well. And, well, us.
Yep,
The
and the
CGC
CGC team. We've got
Tanya, James,
yeah.
and then Dave, Simon. I said your name at the end. I should have said it first.
No. Guests first, always.
And yes, it's going to be great.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Nikki, for all the work you've put in so far, and it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So everyone, get ready and be prepared. Just come with a lot of good vibes. I think that's the ultimate. You know, when I saw that image that you just showed, that's what I thought. You know, I'm caught now in the stress of the event. Everything needs to be perfect, technical challenges, check this, check that. And I saw that picture and I said, yes, because it's all that. It's just we love the guitar and we'll have some fun together. That's all.
Absolutely. Well put. All right. Well, thank you, Nikki. You're going to appear magically. I'm going to transport you back to the chat.
Yes, I'll be there.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Nikki.
Bye-bye.
What a joy. I think as many people said in the interview with Clarice Assad, is like, careful, Simon. I think there might be some requests for a different host next season. Just saying. We'll definitely have Nikki back to host another session in season 3, whenever that may be. Probably in the spring. All right. So that's all very exciting. Today, we're going to be talking about some video editing, and I wanted to be a little different today. Nikki's back in the chat, just been transformed. Today, I'll talk about some stuff. I'll go into my video editor and show you around, but I also wanted to be a little bit more interactive in real time if you have questions, because I know there are questions about all sorts of things related to video. So, and everyone's at different stages of their understanding here. We've got some people who are really very experienced and have some high-end equipment, and then some people who are like, where do I put my phone to get the best outcome? So let me Matt's saying he's ironing his business pajamas ready for Oktoberfest. Absolutely, yes. Well, only the finest Egyptian cotton plaid pajamas for Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest, oh man, I made the mistake. Okay, let's dive in. So here we go. All right, I'm down in the corner. Yeah, okay, so this is Premiere Pro. It's part of, I use the Adobe suite. And as I mentioned last week, when it comes to audio editing, a lot of it, in terms of what you can do, there's a lot of similarity between things, but it's the interface becomes the learning curve. And so you sort of get used to certain, and I used to do a lot of photography with Photoshop, so I'm used to the Adobe stuff. That's why I use this. Of course, iMovie and what do they call it? iMovie Pro or something like that. That's also very intuitive and can do a lot of good things. There are a lot of programs out there, but I use Premiere Pro by Adobe. And So similar to the audio editing, I'll give you a bit of a orientation. Here is our timeline where we're going to be putting our materials and moving them around. Here's some controls here. We can make the sound, solo sound, mute sound. We can lock tracks so we don't make mistakes. Over here on the left is our kind of bin of materials. So these are all our files. I've dragged them in from a folder. And then up here, we've got all these sorts of things we can start editing around with graphics and transitions and audio. And I'll touch on a little bit of that. And we can also up here, effects controls. You'll see these starting to have some little bits and pieces in there. All right, let's start by dragging a piece of footage across. So some of you may recognize this. This is footage that I did when I took 2 days. One day was, I don't know, May a year ago, and then the other day was in maybe September last year. The first time I did half the book, the greater repertoire book, and the second day I did most of the rest of it, not all of it, but so you can see the repertoire book there. Now what you can see, interestingly, if you've seen any of the videos on YouTube, is that you probably don't see that book there. You probably notice, you're like, why is Simon so serious and looking down all the time? Well, I was reading out of the book, that's why. Here's a microphone, etc. Now the important part about this piece of footage is that it's in 4K. And 4K simply means that there's more information in the image, and therefore, if we have more room to do something called cropping. So if I double click on this and drag it out, I can zoom in, and because it's 4K, I'm not losing any quality. So there you can have that image. So that means I can be a little, let me see if I can get this. I can be a little, messy with my framing in the camera. I can have that microphone in there, I can have the music in there, but the end result actually looks very neat, and that means you can mess around with it after the fact, which is very handy. So the 4K, that's the big virtue. And if anyone ever asks you, well, I hear about 8K and 10K, and they also give you the ability to take a big shot, and then you can actually get multiple shots within the same shot. So, one shot we could have here, and then the next one we could try to zoom in even more and put me over here. It's all from the same camera, which is very useful, but it seems like we're getting different video shots, which is great. So, let me just zoom back in. That's the virtue of 4K. Now, if I drag across, on the day I had another camera here to the side of me, and that was a normal high definition camera. It's a standard size. And if I drag that across here, you will see the difference between a 4K image and an HD image. That's the image there in the middle. See how much smaller it is? That's how much we have to work with. So I've kind of done this a bit back to front because I have a 4K settings. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to reduce the size of things to make them match. So I'm going to just bring that out. So now what we have is two cameras. This is very standard. You see a lot of videos, you've got usually a camera zoomed in on the right hand, and maybe also then this camera from the front. If you get more cameras, you just get more angles, basically. But like I said, with a 4K camera, you can get a variety of angles on one shot. If you ever see shots that, I'm going to do it very janky, but look like, that look like this, and then the movie is slowly scrolling from one place to another. That's all in the same shot. They've just asked the video editor to make the image pan across the existing image. So that's how you get those beautiful panning shots. You can actually get it after the fact. It's not someone with a camera smoothly scrolling in real time, although that does happen too. That requires a lot of equipment. But no, you can actually scroll and pan within that same shot. Yet again, another reason to have 4K video. Okay, so the most standard types of things, first of all, we have to sync these two up. So down here in the workspace, you can see I'm dragging around these top and bottom here. That's the top here is the video and the bottom is the sound. And if I play, oops, is that coming out? Is it coming out through? All right. That unfortunately, it probably doesn't. That's a shame. It probably something to do with a video editor using certain audio. That's a shame. I don't think that's going to work this time, but no big deal. All right. I think we're dealing mostly with visual stuff. So basically, you've got audio that's recorded with the camera at the same time that's being recorded. And if you were to try and sync up the two shots just by vision alone, it's really tough. You could try and find a point where you see the finger go down and then on the other shot, the finger goes down and try and line it up visually, but it's really, really very hard. That is why they do have these clackers in the movies. You see them go, and, take one, clack. There's a visual cue there to link up the different takes. But what's much easier, much more practical, is to use the sound, the audio files. So if we zoom out, you can actually visually see if I can expand this a little bit. You can actually visually see this audio and tuning, audio, tuning, probably a few swear words in there, audio, tuning, etc. So we can actually visually see, and then down here, audio, audio, audio. These are bumps that kind of like, these are called, I've forgotten the name, waveforms, and we can kind of see where they line up. So what we can do is actually have a visual and start zooming in. You can see, see that lines up with that. Now scoot it across and then zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. Now we're really very close. And now look at that. That means that now these two pieces of footage and the audio are in sync. And that means that when you transition from one shot to another, you're going to get, have a look at this. So we're gone right hand, me playing with my nails. Great, thrilling, riveting footage. And then out to another shot. And they're perfectly in sync. So by matching up the audio files allows you to go chick, 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 and go in and out. Now I will say that on a lot of video editors, there's the ability to take two pieces of footage like this and actually go, okay, synchronize. And I'm going to ask it to synchronize with the audio and watch them click together, hopefully. It's thinking, thinking, thinking. It's thinking so hard. So this is sort of doing a digital version of what I just did. I have found that depending on the type of audio you've got, if it's voice audio, it's very separated little sound bits, it does a really great job of going click, and it just does it for you. Sometimes with the music, I find I still have to go in and manually line them up. And when you play them back, you can sometimes, if it's slightly off, you can hear a little echo effect. It sounds like it's in a room. Anyway, you get the idea. It's probably trying to process the whole file. So they just click together magically, which is a really handy function. So what else? That's the mainstay of what happens. The other thing to take into account is in this particular instance, we recorded the audio separately. So even though we've used this to sync up the visuals, I'm actually going to take this audio that was recorded through those 4 microphones, and we we mastered it and did fun things with it, then there's actually going to be a third audio source that we sync up, and we go, great, that's all synced up. We do a little chop, and then there's our take with, and we can get rid of the other audio. And we go, oh, there's our audio. Great. So now we have our high level audio with our visuals, and it's all lined up. From there, what tends to happen, we're gonna lock that in place. And then really, when it comes to choosing shots, you can choose it on a variety of reasons. Make a little cut there, and there's going to be a little cut there, a little cut there. And this has the effect of going between the two shots. Wide shot. Call this wide. And then they would probably call this tight. Camera 1 and camera 2, right? To make the little effect, again, we call it cross dissolve. Just like with the audio, we have fades. We're going to add these little effects. I'm just dragging it across. It's going to be different in each program, so I'm not going to go into the details. But you can see this little cross dissolve here. Now watch the image. It's going to dissolve into the next one. Very nice. There's all sorts of little effects that can happen there. Furthermore, because we talked about that 4K ability to change the shot, so let's say the beginning will be this wide shot, and then by the time it comes to this section, maybe we've zoomed in, right? Maybe we've done this. And then it feels like you've got a high production setup where you've got more than 2 cameras. So there's camera 1, wide angle. Camera 2, right-hand shot. Sounds like someone made a mistake. And then now we've gone into a closer shot. So we can actually get quite a variety of images there from just 2 cameras, and we've taken the audio and synced it up. Other things that tend to actually, before I go into sort of troubleshooting with images, I want to dive into some of the questions. So I'm going to come back. Okay, a couple of tech questions here. John Hamilton asked, what file format is used? You can use a variety of formats. The cameras I record in are MP4 or .mov. You can have all sorts of variables. You can have compressed files or uncompressed files, 8-bit, 4-bit. Basically, a lot of it, some of it has to do with how much information you have to play around with. The more information you have, the larger the file size and the heavier it is for the computer to deal with. But the more things you can manipulate, the colors and the size and the zooming in, all that kind of stuff. Honestly, with what we do, we don't need a lot of the whiz-bang setups that a lot of cinematographers need for movies and whatnot. But it's nice. And yeah, the codec is H.264 for those playing at home. Rick asked, what camera are you using to get 4K? So a lot of cameras these days, 4K is kind of the default. We still export pretty much everything in 1080 HD, which is 1080, the number, it just references the amount of pixels on the long side. So 1080 versus 4000. And no, hang on, it would be 1920, but it's about half the size. So I'm using 2 Panasonic GH5s, and if I had my druthers, I would probably buy 2 Canon 90Ds, because you kind of get locked into these systems depending on the lenses, the equipment you buy. So I have good lenses for Canon from my photography days, but I don't have the 4K video. So it's a never-ending trap of spending money on things, as Rick could probably acknowledge. But yeah, that's what I'm using. And I would suggest, once again, there's so many cameras out there that now can capture 4K. Phones will capture 4K. There's actually other things that will improve the image more, and I can go into that a little bit. Yeah, so one of the things, Brian sort of brings up a point about record in 4K, cropping, then exporting in 1080 can take care of a pixelated look. Yeah, so one of the effects of recording in 4K, even if you don't crop around, it actually comes out with a much better video quality in general, as well as giving that ability to crop in. Craig's saying, you know, even a modern iPhone will shoot 4K with the main camera. Yeah, that's true. Yes, so Brian says that he likes to clap loudly on camera to line up the big transient on the audio waveform. So what happens, and this is the same thing with a clacker, you know, clack, take one. It actually creates a big spike on the audio form. Let me share my screen again. So let's see if I can have one. Let's say, like, I don't know what this is. It might probably be sitting up from the chair. See this little bump in the audio? It's easier to see, and a clap is even easier because it's just a quick little spike. So it helps you visually line up the audio. So that's what the clapping does. I found, especially with speaking, but also with sound, that there's enough little dips and clicks that and we're not recording hour-long things, you know. So if it was a much longer thing, it'd be easier to find a spot. What I do when I'm recording by myself, if I mess up and I need to take out an edit, I'll clap in the recording so I can see that actually marks an edit point, so I don't forget. One of my fears is to forget to edit out something and then I say something naughty. It'll happen one day. If it hasn't already and no one told me. I'm just looking through some of the questions. Brent's saying, this seems so complicated. I think I would rather just spend my time practicing, but I enjoy seeing the process. Yeah, I will say it's a learning curve for sure, but you get used to it. You get used to it. So Linda's said, you know, maybe this is part of a conversation, but you know, exam submissions we have are supposed to be unedited, and let's use that as a little bit of a segue. So, thank you, Linda. Teamwork. Oops, that's not it. Okay, so one of the things that you can do, here's what happens a lot in performance videos. And okay, so in the video, remember we had 3 takes here. So this first take, I've been messing around with it, and you can see with the green. Second take, you can see a little bit of the bump there in the audio, and then a break, and then the third take. Now, what you can do, just as you do with the audio, is you can edit moments out, right? And you can slip in different things. So I'm trying to think. I guess because you can't hear it, I'm just going to give you some examples anyway. But you can drag this moment from this across. And the best way to make these seem very smooth is simply to do a transition again. Transition in, and then transition out, and none the wiser. We'll actually see it's going to be small. Right? Now, of course, it's out of sync right now, but if you find the same moment in another take and it's at the same tempo, it really can go in and out quite seamlessly. Another little trick for all of those playing at home, if you get to a point where you want to edit the audio and you can't sync the video, it's just too hard to find a spot where the fingers don't work. One, you could be zoomed out like this, and the fingers are so far away, it's kind of hard to tell. Or, and I've used this before, I used this on one of my very first videos, maybe I'll bring it up. You can go super artsy and be like, oh, he's so artistic. Look at that expression. Just look at the expression and look at the balcony. And what you're not seeing is my hands, which, because it's taken from a completely different take, you, you can use it to sync up that way. I think it's funny. So I'm actually going to, hang on. I'm going to bring up a video of mine. One of my very, very first videos I ever did. And this was the trick I used. What I was just talking about. I tried to incorporate it to make it artistic. How about that? Let me see. Okay. I mean, this worked out pretty well, actually. Let me show you this. Okay. So this is a piece. I used to live on 110th Street in Manhattan, and my room was très petite, as they would say, and very small. And I didn't really have any space to do interesting angles. So I had to find just the right camera angles when my bed, there's one of those rooms where the bed takes up 80% of the space. And then there was a desk. Let's have a look. Okay, so the audio is pre-recorded, and then I synced it up, sometimes poorly, with my footage, hence the 2 thumbs down. So this angle is from, just below, like where my knee is, to the wall, because there was nothing, it looked clean, right? And if you look really carefully, you're going to find some fingers that are a little bit out. I will say that left-hand footage is easier to sync up because it's not as percussive and direct as the right hand. Yeah, see how out that was with the audio? That you can't tell too much. Now here's where I couldn't I couldn't sync up the footage, so I did a very artsy thing. I had a poster on the wall of a rose by Salvador Dali, and throughout the course of the piece, I gradually brought it into focus, handily covering up synchronization issues. Again, a very tight shot because I didn't have much room. What else? I haven't seen this in forever. Oh, must have got out of sync. Slowly coming into focus. Another tight shot. What else we got? Probably that's my desk behind me, etc. I'm zooming through. Oh, there's the artsy shot I was talking about. It's called Simon Needs to Shave, and isn't it artistic? Shallow depth of field. But that's covering up syncing issues. And then, here's the ending idea that makes sense of this red blob. So it worked. It worked pretty well. I was happy with the result, and it was a learning experience. That's a really good example of using different shots to sort of cover up imperfections or syncing issues. Basically, if you ever come across a video that has more than 2 camera shots, it's probably dubbed. Like they've recorded the music and then they've played along with the track. So they'll press play on a stereo and play along with it. Especially if you ever see something outside, and you don't hear any outside sounds, it's just dubbed. I remember having a bit of a conversation about this on a podcast or something, or in an article, about asking people's opinion on, do you want real examples of people playing, or would you prefer highly edited things where it's actually not what they're playing? It's sort of chopped up. And to my surprise, most people said they just want the best version someone can come up with, and they don't mind at all if it's highly edited. So I'm curious to know what you think in the chat if you want to say anything about that. This started because Linda said, at CGC we want videos to be unedited. And of course, with the exams, we want to see as teachers so we can give the best guidance. We want to see what someone's playing like and not edited, not chopped up. However, going between left and right hand in real time, having two cameras film in real time, that's the same thing. That's still depicting what's going on without taking the best from another take and the best from another take and making a Frankenstein's monster. That's a different thing. So, and that's what I did for the vast majority of the Yale videos. Nikki actually worked on a lot of them, and she did, as the pieces got progressively more difficult, there's probably more little edits in there. But we did try to stay away from, getting microscopic in that kind of detail. It was like, just if there was one note, it's like a real clanger. Say, okay, let's slip this one in from another take. Okay, I want to answer some more questions. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight. I know it probably doesn't cover many of the technical questions, but Martha asked, can you discuss how you would sync a duet? So to sync a duet, you're going to need to have something in common. And that could be a metronome in your ear, and you both agree on a metronome tempo. And then you could take both audio and sync it up that way. And you're going to have certain moments when a duet plays at the same time. And as long as you stay true to that metronome, then they should line up if you can play along with the metronome accurately. That's a whole nother challenge, isn't it? But what's much more common is for one person to make a recording of one track, email across the audio, and then someone has it in their ear as they're playing. And the reason that's a bit better is because there's more points, the data points, with a metronome, there's just one click every now and then. But with a track playing, you actually have more notes to reference off so you can feel the beat a little more easily. Plus, if there are tempo fluctuations, you can hear it and go with it. Maybe even a step up is actually sending a video of yourself. So not only can you hear while you're overdubbing the second track, you can also see the other person. And that's kind of just like playing a duet, because we can see the other person's hand and their physical motions. The only difference is the other person can't be flexible with us. I'm just diving into some questions here. I can also go into some color correction things if that's of any interest to people. But pardon the silence. I need thinking music while I go through the. It's such a conversational community that it's hard to find the questions. Okay, Harvey asked, do you use click tracks for syncing or overdubbing or duets? So when I recorded an album with a bluegrass band, we played to a click. I've met a few guitarists who are exceptional rhythmists, and I am not one of them. Colin Davin is really good. He was in the band, and I saw very specifically how good he was, because he was really able to play with that click track. And then you go back and you see the waveforms of your own. You're like, whoops. But I would say it's really hard. It's really hard. But, the more practice you have. So the question was, do you use click tracks? Yeah, if you're recording a duet with yourself, yes, you definitely want to sort of start with a click track or start with a tempo, agreed on tempo, and then duets. Yes, absolutely. So that would be click track, for those who are wondering, is this basically the same as a metronome, although you can make them a little more customized. So for instance, if there's a time signature change in the track, you can actually reflect that with a click track. So I'll give you an example of where we used a click track. When we recorded Ben's Scenes from Ellis Island, let me play you a little bit of that, just the audio. This piece is written for 12 guitars, plus other stuff. And between the two of us, we recorded all parts. And that we used a click track for. And I made a click track in Sibelius because the time signatures changed and the tempo changed. That's not the right one. There we go. Let me just find a little bit. So this is 2 guitars playing 12 parts. Oops, hang on. Can you hear it? No. Here we go. There it is. Let me get you something more complicated. Great piece. This section goes 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh no, back to 6. Anyway, I went. Have a listen. I think we've talked about that way back when I had Ben on. Great piece. It's called Scenes from Ellis Island. It's on iTunes and whatnot. But click tracks, ahoy. So, oh, I see. We're back. We're still back now. Where I was playing Nocien. Yeah, Craig was mentioning, in one of the interviews where I had Stephanie Jones on, I think the vast majority of people use overdubbed performances these days. Yeah. See this, okay, now Craig talking about guitar salon videos, which certainly seem more live. There's plenty of space for both sides. Now, the guitar salon videos are highly edited. And that's where I find, all I really want is a little asterisk on the video saying edited. Because it just doesn't depict reality. And I think that can be, having worked with so many people who are so passionate and can sometimes be a little down on themselves about their own abilities. They see a video of someone on GSI and like, man, I'll never reach that. Well, you know what? They never reach that either. There are some players out there who are just pristine players, but they're few and far between. So know that those videos are highly, highly edited. Because the performers know that it's going out to a large audience, and so they get Final Cut and they have a lot of back and forth with GSI. So, oh, no, have we hit the end? Okay, pretty much. Okay, well, good. If there are any more questions or anything, if I missed your question, please write it in the comments again. One little thing I'll go back into with the video. Let's see. Yeah, is that okay? You know what? I'll go into what makes a good shot. Okay, so there's a couple of things because we talked about equipment and we talked about equipment and how that's going to affect the video and whatnot. Now, what makes a good shot? Because like I said, so many things. Many phones can record in 4K. So this shot I was really happy with. And this was on the second trip up to this hall. The first one I wasn't so happy with. The reason I'm happy with it, I'll go into it. Okay, so there's different types of lighting, right? We can have what we would, if we just said, okay, light yourself, we'd probably put a light straight in front of us. And that makes us feel very flat, and it can be kind of, it just maybe doesn't look that great. What's great about this, and this is just luck, because this is the hall lighting. But my back is to the audience, as you can see, and the spotlights for a performer come from a bit back in the hall, right, with the seats. And so what's happening is there's a little they call it sometimes hair lighting, but basically there's lighting this little strip here of white, and then also, and yeah, across the hair, and then on the arm. All of this is lighting from the side and the back. And what that does is it makes the subject pop from the background. And the background is more muted in terms of light, but also it's a little bit out of focus, which is good, a bit of soft. And so that means your eye is really drawn to the subject in the middle there. There's even some light there on the side of the hand. And my face is clear, but it's, there's some soft lighting there because what I'm facing is the back of the hole, which is entirely white. So that's acting as a big reflector and pushing some soft light onto my face. But the things that are really virtuous here is these side and back lights, and then the giant amount of space behind me. Now, I wish I could have that kind of space to work with, because you get something, you're working with something called depth of field, where you're in focus and the background is out of focus. That's a lovely, lovely look. You only get that with bigger spaces, so you're not going to get that in your apartment unless you get sort of into artistic shots where you get very close. That's why in that Nocien video, like some of the shots are really close to my face, and an eyelash will be in focus and the rest will be out of focus. But this is what's great. And whenever I see videos of people in big spaces, I get a little envious. This was great, but I had to go up to Connecticut to film it. But yeah, so big spaces allow for those soft backgrounds, and then lights slightly to the back if you need the front light as well. They often talk about 3-point lighting. You've got something called a key light, which is your main light. Then you've got a fill light, because if you have a main light slightly off to your right, you're going to get a big white shadow. You can kind of see in my face a little bit. It's kind of like split, right? And then you need a fill light, so something coming back from the other side, so it's not as dramatic as completely dark and completely bright. And then you need a hair light, like we're talking about here, that fills in, so it makes your lines a little bit more defined, so it's not so flat. That's the standard kind of lighting, and you can play around a lot with that in your own setups to make your images. The light behind you is quite transformative, actually. Rick asked a question. Let's go back to here. What do you use to compress or export so the file size is manageable? Rick, I have to say that's part of where my skill sets stop, or I stopped learning there. I don't do too much. I use H.264 compression, and then I just do standard export settings. I think, there's an art to choosing those settings. I actually, yeah, that's sort of where I draw my line. So my files are usually, I don't know, it depends on how long they are, obviously, but they run into the gigabytes for sure. So yeah, I don't have a good answer there, I'm afraid. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in. Either that or the chat broke once again. But we might wrap it up there if no one else has any questions. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into the process, what it looks like, the real malleability of what you can do. There's all sorts of things as well. You can sort of learn skills. If you have footage that doesn't look great, you can often clean it up pretty well, and do some things like color correction and lighting correction. But it's always better to get it right in camera the first time, because the more you start processing things afterwards, the more it can look a bit odd, unless you're a real master of that, because there's a whole craft to that. So that might wrap up our little overview there. Hopefully it was of interest. Maybe there's one or two things that take away. Next Thursday, in 2 days, we're going to have our final session of the CGC show. And John asked an interesting question. John asked, is there focus correction? No, that's there's a couple of things that if you mess up, you're in trouble. Focus is one of them. I used to, when I first started filming back in my old apartment, I used to use a pot plant. So now there's a camera here that has a flip out screen and good autofocus and stuff. But way back when, the camera I was using didn't have a flip out screen, so it was kind of a leap of faith that what you were recording was in focus, and often it wasn't. So I would use a pot plant, and I would focus on the pot plant and then set the focus, and then I would remove the pot plant and then sit down and hopefully be more engaging than the pot plant. But sometimes, I have to say several times, and there were naughty words spoken. I would, after 15 minutes of teaching a great lesson, it's like, great, I really think that was good. You go back and like you're completely out of focus, and then you have to throw it away. It's unusable. There are some cameras and technologies out there that can do that. You can change focus with photography. And what they're basically doing is taking multiple photos at the same time, and then you can choose your point of focus, but not, as far as I know, not with video cameras. So just gotta get it right. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Brian says that the flip out screen, we call that a confidence monitor. Nice. I learned something. All right. Yeah, Lisa, I will miss them as well, but I think there's a natural rounding out to these things. I start to run out of things to talk about. So I've got to have a little bit of re-energizing. And yeah, well, we're going to look forward to Thursday. Thank you, Nikki, for making a cameo today. And of course, we're all going to be looking forward to Oktoberfest this weekend. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye.